restaurant located at Yorkville, Toronto. It's a fine dining restaurant, and our restaurant is famous for its food. However, we've got an enormous, beautiful wine list that we are famous for as well. So today I have a training process of how to open a bottle of wine, and this is for generally a newcomers. For example, if we are hiring a wine steward or a sommelier. However, we know that they would have a basic, pretty good knowledge about the wine beforehand. However, we want this to have and refresh their memories, and the reason we do that is because we want each of our servers to perform the same activity, and by knowing these skills, it's going to be very common and synonymous. So for example, for opening a bottle of wine, we would require a wine opener. That's going to be this, the wine opener. It has 4 edges. It's going to be knife, the screw, the opener, and the way we're going to hold them up. We would require a bottle of wine. That's going to be the Santa Rita. That's the Caminara Chile 2010. That's a young red wine. We would require a decanter. Now decanters is optional. Generally every guest nowadays wants their wine to be decanted. However, the reason that we decant is aromatizing, having a flavor that it's been lost. And yes, it's optional. You need to confirm the guest, and that's what I do specifically we all do in Phoenix. We confirm the guest, each and every guest, if they want their wine to be decanted. However, in white wines, only Chardonnay can be decanted as it passes through the oak aging. We need a baby wrap. Baby wrap is going to be the cloth that we use. For example, when we pouring the gas, the lid, the little drops, that's going to be wrapped up. So the procedures goes is hold the bottle at 45-degree angle, make sure the label is facing the guest. So we're going to make sure the guest is here. We're going to make sure the label is facing them. With the specifications, we would let them know. For example, sir, this is Santa Rita, that's Caminara Chile 2010. For the guest to have a specification of what he's going to have, or what he would be having. We're going to remove the foil. Now, removing the foil would require a certain knife. This is the one that we have. We're going to make sure we're going to make an incision here. Make sure the wine is always, constantly, the label is facing the guest. We're not going to change the label though. We're going to make an incision here, and the incision here, and then we're going to make an incision upwards. So the foil would be removed. However, this end would not be touched, and it would be still the same. We now insert the wine opener in a tilt angle, making 9 rotations. I'm talking about the 9 rotations because it's an average. The rotations depend upon the wine cork. For example, if you opening an Italian wine bottle, Italian corks are really long, Californian are really short, and French are really the medium ones that we have now. So for example, the rotations can be depend upon you when you know exactly the way to open it. However, the tilting is really important because when we tilt, we do not tilt the cork, we do not tilt our opener. The incisions would come to an edges, and that would break the cork and would have the sediments inside the bottle, and which we don't want that. I'm talking about the 2-way procedure. After when you make sure you have the rotations, this is going to be the procedures 1 and 2, and this is going to be the base for both of them. Here, you're going to put them up, and you're going to hold the cork upwards. You make sure the cork, this is for example, this is the cork that we have. You make sure it's opposite you, it's not onto you. You make sure you're throwing out, because that's the way the balance of the cork will be maintained. We're going to pour the 15 ml of wine to the host for approval. In our Phoenix restaurant, the main procedure that we follow is going to have an approval. I'm sure everybody in the whole wine regions, everybody follows the same procedure, because the guest should be satisfied of what he is drinking, and it's very important for him to have an opinion of it. And if, for example, the guest doesn't like the wine, we're going to find an alternative to it. If necessary, we're going to decant the bottle of wine, as I was just informing, and I was just letting you guys know that it's really important, and the procedure that we follow is decanting. So we for example, if we have a decanter, we make sure always we have in 45-degree, and then we're going to decant the wine, and slowly we're going to put a candle for us to know the sediments. However, for this wine, as I was saying, it's not required because it's 2010. The incision is really on this side. So you make sure whatever this would come would just always be on this side. So as I was mentioning before, that when removing the foil, this part should be common and this part would be ending off. So when we removing the foil, we make sure we just target on this part. Now third one is we're going to insert. So we're just going to make an angle and then we're going to insert the wind. It's going to be straight now. Going to make rotations. We make sure till the time that rotations just depend upon your comfortability level and when you're sure about it. We're not moving the wind. We make sure this way. So now this is going to be the first phase. Here, it's going first rotation, and the second rotation is this part where you're going to rotate. Now we know the wind. That's the way we open the wind, and we're going to make sure we're going to place the core right in front of the gas, so we can have it. Now the second last procedure is pouring. That's the way. That's the cuvee that we have, and that's basically for, in champagnes generally cuvee is for maintaining a 90 pounds pressure. However, in red wines cuvee is for timing, and it's really important to wine for having cuvee because it always is in the oxidization process, and for the maturing it really helps out. So when we're going to serve the wine, we're going to have in this angle, and this the wine we're going to serve, and we're going to. Once the wine is done, we're going to place it back.